Attorneys for former President Trump want to meet with Attorney General Merrick Garland. They sent a letter to the AG that did not cite any specifics, but it did say the former president was being treated unfairly by the Justice Department over Special Counsel Jack Smith's investigation into the way classified documents were handled at the former president's Mar-a-Lago estate. Another case involving the former president, Trump made an appearance over video in a New York City courtroom Tuesday for a pretrial hearing into alleged hush money payments. The judge set the trial for March. That's in the middle of the presidential primary season. The judge advising Mr. Trump to cancel his obligations during the trial, which could last several weeks. The former president is charged with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. He has denied the allegations. And staying on the 2024 presidential race, I want to bring in Judge Andrew Napolitano now, former New Jersey Superior Court judge and author of 10 books on the U.S. Constitution. We'll talk about the race in a moment, but the warning from the judge, clear your calendar. You're going to have some obligations to appear in court for the former president. What do you make of that message right now, this far out?
Well, that's standard operating procedure, Marni. The president had no obligation to be present in the courthouse when he was a defendant in a civil lawsuit that we all followed and all read about, in which he was found liable for a sexual assault. But he is required to be in the courtroom every minute of the trial during the criminal case. That's because he is entitled to the effective assistance of counsel, and the courts have ruled effective assistance of counsel means the defendant has to be there to work with the counsel. So there's no circumstance that I can think of under which the court would exclude him from being at that trial, short of his own physical inability to get there, in which case the trial would have to stop until he is physically able to get there. So for however long it takes, and the estimates are ranging from 10 days to 3 weeks, he's going to be in that very same courtroom where he was a month or two ago, where the big hullabaloo occurred right outside the courthouse.
So no appeal to be had here in your eyes?
No. The appellate courts do not take appeals on these preliminary issues. The trial judge has the discretion to set the trial date. The trial judge has no choice but to have the defendant there. The Constitution requires the defendant there.
What do you make of his attorney's request to meet with the AG on the other case involving the classified documents?
That's not a good sign for them. That means that they know, consistent with a lot of mainstream reporting, the Wall Street Journal has taken the lead on this, that Jack Smith, the independent counsel investigating both the Mar-a-Lago and the January 6th investigations, but this, the one you're asking about, is Mar-a-Lago, that he has finished his investigation and he is ready to make a recommendation to the Attorney General. The Attorney General will have the final say on whether or not Mr. Smith and his team can even ask the grand jury for an indictment. So I suspect that they have decided to ask for the indictment. They have sent the president's lawyers what's called a target letter, which basically says, we're going to ask for an indictment. If your client wants to speak to the grand jury, not to our boss, the Attorney General, but to the grand jury, here's the window of time in which you can do it. I suspect that that's been done, but because Donald Trump marches to the tune of his own drummer, he wants to try and talk the Attorney General out of giving the DOJ lawyers consent to ask the grand jury for the indictment. Not going to happen.
Well, and some would say, at least in the Trump camp, that they benefited from the last indictment. They saw an uptick in fundraising. Might they see that again?
Oh, I think they will. I think they expect to see it, and I think they will see it. The former president is superb at portraying himself as the victim, at ranting against the system. We've seen a lot of FBI dropping the ball, a lot of FBI breaking the law lately. The president will pile on, and rightly so. And his poll numbers will go up, and his donations will go up, but so will his legal jeopardy.
Thank you for watching. Go to NewsNationNow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.